The danger of being judgmental versus being curious. It's massive. It's fucking massive. In this video, I'm going to do a quick rundown as to why it's actually dangerous for your upbringing, for your future, for the advice that you'll soon give when you're older to your younger kids or the next generation or anyone young who's looking at you for influence. And if currently right now you find yourself judging versus being curious, right? Your mindset is programmed in a way where you actually become toxic to anyone around you that's aspiring to take risk. And you know, when we look back from the advice that we received growing up from our elders, and even when our elders were young growing up, the advice they received from their elders, you know, there's a common theme, and that theme is making judgment. You know, being safe, being frugal, not taking risks. Risks is dangerous because we think risk is driving drunk, or risk is, you know, jumping off a cliff to skydive, or you know, to dive into an ocean. Whatever the idea is of risk, what we're talking about in terms of risk in this video, risk is the risk of growth, the risk of running after your dreams and not being worried about failure. The risk is taking a chance knowing that failure is high, the likelihood of failure could be high, but you don't give a fuck because you're still going to prevail. You're going to learn, you're going to bounce back, you're going to stand back up, you're going to dust yourself off, whatever. You know, that's growth, right? But you have to keep in mind all the advice that we got growing up was risk is bad, you know, and that it roots from the perception that we have of success today, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you think about the advice you get from elders, whether it's money is the root of all evil, or you know, take less risk, just work your 9 to 5, work some overtime, travel with your family once a year, you know, live well below your means, live limited, you know, hopefully you have good health coverage and you stay healthy so you don't need the insurance coverage. You know, all that sounds great. All that sounds fucking dandy. But when real life hits and you see other people who chose to take that advice versus those who actually designed and chose to write and pave their own way, it is really the subtle difference of one group identifying the resources that they have at their disposal versus the resources that were had from those who are giving the advice right now. Meaning that our elders, our parents and our elders, they didn't have technology like we had right now. They don't have social media. They didn't have the internet. You know what I mean? They couldn't find a book in a matter of seconds and go through that book through audibles, you know, within a matter of a day. But I'm sure that if they did have that capability, they would have. So really the main message should have been learn and absorb as much as you can, because I grew up in, you know, this is your elders talking, because we grow up in an era where books it will give you the best knowledge, you know, and it's actually the books giving the best knowledge were written from people who took a risk, people who took a risk to write their shit down, and it could have never been read. It could have never been picked up. It could have never been, you know, discovered. There's a lot of risk because you're spending that time doing that versus doing something other than your time, and everyone's limited on time, but at the same time everyone has the same amount of time per day. And so, you know, my punchline here is that when you see success, whether it's an entrepreneur or it's a CEO of a company, or it's just the top leader in your team, it could be your manager, you know, when you see success, even someone below you, let's just say it's a brand new junior sales agent or a brand new junior operations role, and you know, you see them, no matter what their experience or what their tenure is, you see them shining, you see them getting good comments, you see them, everything just happens to work out for them, right? And if you notice it yourself giving judgment, like, oh, it's happening because they're pretty, or it's happening because the manager likes them, or it's happening because they're a woman or they're a guy, that's a fucking excuse. That's what judgment is now. Judgment is the new fucking excuse. It's excuse as to why you're not aspiring, or to justify why you don't want it as much as they do, right? And so where I'm getting at is judgmental. It's fucking hazardous. Just don't do it. Be more curious. If you don't want to be curious as to what the message is, or what the concept is, or how they're succeeding, then fucking keep it moving. But when you judge, then you create this negative energy. You create this negative stigma. You may not know it, but you're actually doing it to yourself. And when you tell yourself that, oh, they're just successful because of this, you're actually reiterating why you're not as successful, rather than say, oh, they must not, pay as many fees as I have, or they may not have as much bills or responsibilities as I have. That's why that youngster has that expensive car. Whatever. At the end of the day, if you looked at it more curiously, like, I wonder what that youngster's doing. I wonder what moves they're making in order to even have the option to afford that fancy car. Or I wonder what education, or what motivates them, or what tools that they're using to pave their own way. Like, this kid could have been some kid who just sitting on mom's couch or living in their dad's basement playing fucking video games all day, but this kid is driving a more expensive car than I am. I wonder how. I wonder what they're doing. I wonder what they're into. That, be curious, not judgmental. And I'm confident that if you go about your day actually giving praise and saying, hey man, fucking awesome job, youngster with the fancy ass car. What is it you do? I'm fucking fascinated. Let me know. Be curious that way. You'll actually grow more. You'll actually walk away a better person, rather than in a negative tone or negative energy in your presence, because you're upset and thus judging that person for being more successful than you, where it should be fire for you. It should be, that jet fuel that says, hey, fuck that, I can do that. This kid can do it, I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do it better. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it 10 times better, because I'm damn near 10 times older. But you know what I mean. So go about it that way, and I think that that's a great way to start your day. So consider that. If you like the message, please like, subscribe, share, comment, and post this link on any of your social media platforms. I appreciate you. Have a good one.